two. He's gonna get a double dose of indigo today because the powers that be want to be funny. But since I'm a woman of completion, woman of my word, woman of character and integrity, um, I'm gonna go ahead and finish that last 5 minutes that weirdly got cut off for no reason, unbeknownst to me. Let me just make sure I got bars and everything. I went on for a whole 5 minutes once I got back in the house and everything. I went up to 14 minutes that I saw. Nothing told me that the broadcast had stopped, but just stopped me right in the middle of in the broadcast. It's for the funny business, you know. But who gets the laughs? The last laugh, the victors. Amen. So, let me think back to where I was talking about. I was talking about, yeah. So I was talking about when we're talking about dropping the dead weight. You know, I like to give practical steps. I don't like to just say things because it sounds good or whatever. Like who doesn't really? Who doesn't like to get in a good quip or a good one liner? A good one for the reels. For the viral reels and all that good stuff. The replay. But yeah, no. So so as far as like this being the next step of stop it, drop it, and get your roll on. The last video that I had, just kind of like it's like a hearing. I say it's a broadcast, so it's like just sharing, you know, um, sharing the energetic read of the lay of the land and everything like that. If you haven't been getting your affairs in order and you haven't been getting yourself together and basically the point of like the directly last video that I just did a few minutes ago that they cut off for Lord knows what reason. Um, is the first step is getting organized. You know what I'm saying? Like after any any traumatic events, any crazy trips or anything that just kind of like threw off like the regularly scheduled programming. There's usually some type of aftermath of some type of mess. You know what I'm saying? So the first step to like putting the pieces back together in your life is finding the pieces, which is like getting organized. Just like if anybody's done a puzzle, 50-piece puzzle, 5-piece puzzle, 1,000-piece puzzle. The first step to the puzzle isn't just like starting to put the pieces together. That's ridiculous. You got a pile of pieces. The first step is to get them organized. You know what I'm saying? First of all, every puzzle that's a square rectangle has 4 corners. You start with the basics. You start with the foundation. You know what I'm saying? You start with the meat of the matter. You know what I'm saying? With the bone and the gristle and stuff like that and everything. Hello, how are you? I'm just finishing up. Well, yeah, I'm finishing up the directly last broadcast. They cut me off, and I didn't even know. So I'm just kind of just finishing up what I was talking about, which is just like get organized. The first step to just like taking that first step to the next chapter in your life, or wherever life is taking you, because we're all collectively going through a major transition. You know what I'm saying? All like on every level and particle of our beings, we're all being asked to elevate and grow and stuff like that. um I don't. It's not that I don't date. I don't. I haven't. That's funny. I love everybody. That's funny. I don't know what said hi means. I don't know what that means. I usually a bot. Do I date white men? I love love. How about that? I love who loves me. Okay, and let's put it there. I love who loves me. um, but that's funny. But yeah. Sometimes collective, just the collective transitions that we're all going through and everything like that. If it depends on the levels of woo woo ness that you indulge in and everything like that. We're going to the age of Aquarius. If you haven't heard that. Um, okay. I like Cadillac Escalades. um, if you've been paying any type of attention, the country's going through a major transition and everything. That I don't know what said hi means. It comes in really weird. Like, are you a bot? Like, talk regular. Like if you said hi, maybe that's when a person's from a different language and it's just translating it. I do not know, but yeah, said hi is I don't know when people say that in the chat, but we're all going through this collective transition. Mother Earth is transitioning. You know what I'm saying? increasing in frequencies, and we're being asked to follow suit because we're all, antibodies on her body that's supposed to honestly be caretaking. That's really the only thing we're supposed to be doing, taking care of the actual planet that we live on so that we have something to live on, and we can live. I don't understand all of this permissiveness of just destroying the planet. Why? Just because a few people got a few little Scrooge McDuck bucks and they feel like they can go to Mars when they feel like it and leave the rest of us here. I don't know who signed up for that. You know what I'm saying? And everything. So that's wild. You need water to drink. You need air to breathe. You know what I'm saying? There's certain things that we just need that the planet provides for free and abundantly. And, these man made constructs, we can't keep on belaboring that point and stuff. Amen. Where are you? Where are you? And stuff. Where would you be? How do you assume that we could be neighbors? Huh? Why do you think you should? Why do you think you gotta fly? That's so funny. Um, so we're all being asked to transition. You know what I'm saying? So like I'm an energetic sensitive. So I like to just broadcast the messages that I don't like to. Honestly, spirit don't let me rest. Because there's in the days of old there was prophets that were like, hey, life's not forever. You gotta, gotta plan for the next thing. You know what I'm saying? The hereafter and all that good stuff. And they got killed. People didn't like it, being told that that their revelries weren't necessarily leading to anything good. So so it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So you just gotta share the messages as you can and everything. Oh, Georgia. Oh, okay, okay. All right. Well, Atlanta. Have I been to Atlanta? I've been to the airport. I've been to the airport and stuff. Okay, amen. Hi, Santiago, the place, or that's your name, and everything. So yeah, so collectively, we got to turn this thing around because we don't have a planet to live on. We don't live. You know what I'm saying? Like we get the concept that there's a whole big universe and we're just floating in space, but it's I don't think it's taken I don't think it's taken seriously and stuff. Child development, amen. Hey, Santiago, is that a place or is that your name and stuff? Georgia, too funny. Yeah, I'm in Maryland. How about that? That's not necessarily a flight, but it's a drive and stuff. But yeah, being asked to transition and everything like that. So just to finish up the last few minutes that I had and everything from that cut off from the last video, because Lord knows, Lord knows, life moves, got all day. You know what I'm saying, and everything. My name. Okay, hi, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. I'm Indigo and everything. So subscribe if you like the vibe, kick off your shoes, relax your feet. I just, it's a free form platform, so I just like to talk about how this, what the spirit wants me to talk about. And then the stuff I want to talk about, I don't know. It is the stuff I talk about, honestly. It's one and the same. I'm not gonna lie. But I like if it can help somebody, I like it to go. I like it to help somebody, like to be positive, because there's a lot of negativity in the world, all this news stuff and everything like that. I like to talk about real stuff, you know, and everything with real people, So yeah, so again, so this whole thing, just finishing it, like the step one to getting out of any mess in life is to organize, to stop, realize you're in a mess. That's kind of like the first step, But the first actual step where you actually are starting to step on faith and starting to step into your power is where you start to pick up the pieces and organize. So before I got distracted, it was easy to do with me. It's easy to do with me, but I can bring it back. I was talking about the analogy of a puzzle. So if you've ever done a puzzle, 1,000 piece puzzle, 500 5 piece puzzle, you start with the corners because you know that there's four corners. So you start with the foundational principles. Myself, I do identify as a child of God and everything. So I try to live that out. I try to incorporate. I bathe in it. I try. Like I don't. I try. It's not a good word, but work towards it. Like whatever, like make strides. Like no one's gonna ever get it 1,000%. But just the effort is commendable, especially when there's so many people that don't try or negate and everything. So you start with the foundationals. You got four corners to every puzzle. You start there, and then you start organizing the pieces. Then you got edges. You know what I'm saying? So the first thing is you do the first thing you do after you found the four foundations of the puzzle, the corners, is you start finding the edges. Then you start aligning the edges and you start looking at the details, the colors and stuff like that. Then you start filling in the puzzle, and then throughout that part, and sometimes you got a part, a little part here, a little part there, a little part there, and then eventually you get the whole big picture. You know what I'm saying? And that's how that's a metaphor to organizing. So you start with the foundational principles, and then you build from there, and that's anything. But sometimes people do get lost in the sauce, and they do get left behind because of they're under the weight of they're just looking at the mess. Just looking at the mess. I have this mess, and the mess is all I have. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people, that's the end of their story. You know what I'm saying? Yes. Yes, this is live. Yes, I am responding to you. Honestly, I wish not I wish, but these messages are just as much for me as much as I'm sharing them. It's a download, and I wish I was organized enough to pre-record videos in the manner that other people seem to do so easily. I know there's a lot of work that goes behind the scenes, but my life's not set up like that. So I go live as I can and everything. So yeah, so most of the broadcasts on this channel, if not all, have been live. But yeah, so yeah, that's about it. That's about it. So just when we start talking about dropping the dead weight, a lot of the resistance is because the things that sometimes we're asked to let go of are things that we like, things that we love, things that we have associated with our identity. I had an identity series a few weeks ago. Things that are meshed to our identity so much that when we actually separate from them, it causes us pain. Maybe not physical pain, but emotional pain, mental pain, because these are all bodies that encompass the whole person. When we go to primary school, secondary school, we don't necessarily talk about the whole person. We talk about, cohabitation. Like, how can you be a good friend? Oh, that's not nice to your friend. And whatever. We're not taught to be friends to ourselves through an external, corporate bureaucratic entity breakdown, whatever. I don't. That's not. This ain't the video for that. But where do we find that? We got a lot of maladaptive behaviors that we get as adults, and then little to no support. So we are to as a child of God, I do believe we are to become our brothers keepers. And sisters, brothers and sisters keepers, and that's it. The more of us that can actually make space while someone's learning how to organize, the better it'll be for everybody. You know what I'm saying? The less people that are hungry, the better it'll be, because there's going to be less people, less deviancy. Like, I mean, who can't benefit from that? And if the planet's healthier, we're healthier. Better air to breathe, better water to drink. Like, we can't just like lay down to these corporate initiatives and all this other dumb stuff, just because a few people got some imaginary imaginary tokens. You know what I'm saying? Come on now, come on now. The real rich is in here. The real riches and wealth is in here. It's in here. It's the relationship and the fellowship that we can develop with each other and everything. So yeah, so I am kind of a little bit glad, because it did, the ending of this one is a little better than the ending of the last one. Definitely check out the beginning, how I started to how it is now. I'm not gonna take down the last one, because it was the beginning of this one. This is kind of a part two. But shout out to is it Santiago? Santiago said hi, my name, while you were doing live streaming. Oh, Marcellus. Oh, my babies. Okay. Okay. Amen. Hi, Santi. Hi, Marcel. I see you. Okay. Mwah. Hi. Hi. Okay. Good to see you. Thank you. Thank you for subscribing. I can't wait. I'll see you soon, okay? I can't wait to see you. Oh. Thank you. Aw. I love you, okay? And I'll see you soon. I'm gonna be jumping off. Oh, I didn't realize it was you. Okay. All right. You guys have a blessed day. Okay. All right. Nehemiah went on a field trip today. She went to Turkey Hill Factory in Pennsylvania. So she's on a field trip. But we'll see you guys soon, okay? All right, so I'm gonna be jumping off, loving everybody, and everybody have a great blessed day. Oh, you got me smiling. Bye. Love you.